Before becoming a household name for his acting skills and all-time blockbuster films, Sir Charles Baker Harris lived an interesting life. Now 45 years old, he returned from Vietnam and is willing to come and give us an inside look on his upcoming movie, In the Heat of the Night, a movie he believes to reveal the ingrained racism of the South in which he grew up in. In a book written by John Ball, the movie takes place in the small town of Sparta, Mississippi. It's about a Philadelphian police detective, Virgil Tibbs, who finds himself being arrested for suspicions of murder by the town's racist sheriff, Bill Giuseppe. After Tibbs proves his innocence of not only him but another man, he joins the sheriff in tracking down the real killer through the hostile racist town. The investigation takes them through every social level of the town, making enemies as well as unlikely friends, hunting for the truth. Understanding this movie and Mr. Harris' life helps us comprehend the South's past as well as the present, bringing awareness to the unfair treatment of African Americans today. Now, here's the life of Sir Charles Baker Harris, the man behind the camera.
Mr. Harris, I'm a writer from the Daily Mirror. I wanted to ask you about your childhood, like where were you raised and what was it like?
I lived in Meridian, Mississippi with my mother and stepdad, if you could even call him a dad. Nothing like Atticus Finch he was. During the summer, I was shipped off to Macomb, Alabama. That's how I met the Finches, actually. And, of course, my wife, Jean Louise, it was her and her brother, Jeremy, who I always called Scout and Jem, and their father, Atticus, the best man I've ever met.
Living in the South, how did you experience racism? Like, how did it affect you?
Racism happened my entire life, but I didn't start realizing until I was older. Atticus was a lawyer, and naturally living in Macomb had to defend many cases with prejudice and racism. The most, though, was Tom Robinson's. He was an African American accused of rape. No matter the circumstances, Atticus defended that man in court with so much knowledge and passion. Well, it was only a child, but I knew I wanted to be like him someday. Tom was an innocent man, charged guiltily only because of his skin color. He was shot multiple times in prison, trying to escape the offense, climbing with only one arm. It dug a deep impression in me and opened my eyes. Racism is weird. You don't think it happens when you were a child because nobody would act such a horrifying way, right? But one day, it just surrounds you and you realize it's going on longer than you were alive. The moment I got the chance to direct this movie, I jumped on it. I feel this is a powerful movie that can help address important issues today.
Being as successful as you are, did you receive any higher education?
After the year of the trial, I focused on school, even had to come during the summer, but doesn't matter because I graduated as smart as my class. Me and Jem and even Scout tried to get Atticus to teach us everything he knew, not just about school knowledge, but about life. Mr. Finch was the smartest man I ever known. He still kept secrets, though, told us he would teach us later, but I kind of knew it was kind of the thing that you never told someone. Only life could show you. I went to law school like Jem. Only lasted about a year. Atticus knew people and helped us get in. Jem fitted in, but me, not so much. I had to take a strange array of jobs until I decided to join the Army at age 35.
So since you were in the war, can you describe your experiences there and what happened when you came back?
I tell you, it felt great to be out there fighting for my country, but it was some piece of work. At first, I couldn't be prouder for my nation. When I came home, nobody was celebrating the heroes of war. It was tragic, if they died, of course, but the people who lived were almost considered criminals of war by some Americans. I got over it eventually, but people just have narrowed vision of what they want for their country, not just war, many issues in general. I hope the war ends soon. When I was in the war, I didn't leave like a wimp. I was in enemy territory and came across the other side's biggest secret. No one believes me, but they were using geese to fight. They trained the geese in martial arts. They were deadly killing machines. I went to eliminate them, but they caught me. I was attacked and beaten half to death. I was lucky to escape alive. I crawled the way back to our camp, and they brought a medic. They said I had a 99.9% chance I was going to die. But I pulled through. I pulled through for Scout. I was told I needed to go home and leave the army, but I told them I had to complete my mission. I defeated the geese. I single-handedly took them down, and then, only then, did I tell my commander I was ready to go home to my Scout.
How did you reconnect with Scout? What was your life like after the army?
You see, I liked Scout from the start, and when we were younger, we even played that we were married. I am so lucky to be part of the Finch family now. Atticus is like a father to me. I just hope I can raise my children I had a Scout as well as Atticus raised his children. A wise man he was. Jim and his wife Amelia's children are around the same age as Scout and mine. I think it's great for them. Sometimes I swear they act just like the three of us did. I mean, Jim, Scout, and I. I just hope that they don't start mocking the neighbors with plays like we did. Right now I live with my wife, Scout, and my 5 kids, Dennis, David, Dorothy, Daniel, Darren, and my eldest, Sir Charles Baker Harris II, but we call him Dill. We also have a dog named Goose, and currently live in Tunnel Springs, a town just a few miles northeast of Macomb. Scout wanted to stay close to home. I do have, though, an apartment in Hollywood, for when we're working, of course.
How did you end up getting the job as film director in The Heat of the Night?
When I came back from Vietnam, Scout was a writer for the daily newspaper in LA. Scout had to interview Cecil Jacobs, a man I grew up with. He's a horror movie producer in LA these days. I was in need of a job, and he let me act in a few films, usually as an extra dealing with the army. When I found out about his new movie, In the Heat of the Night, I asked him if I could direct it, and he happily obliged. In the Heat of the Night, set to release this October, is a real thriller. I hope to see you there. The twists and turns will leave you on the edge of your seat till the end. I hope to see you at the premiere on October 25th.